Welcome back to TYT Sports, everybody. Francis and Jason here. Time to talk some very early over-under win projections for the National Basketball Association. We are 2 months away. Anthony Davis tweeted it out. 2 months.
2 months, baby.
2 months away from the National
Carry
Basketball
on the momentum. We just finished the Olympics. It doesn't seem that long because the Olympics just happened, so we've got some B-ball there.
Wait, I miss it so much. I miss League Pass. I miss watching 16 freaking games a night.
I know, I just wish they had more games for me to watch.
Crushing my soul. The Knicks are going to win 65 games.
Are they going to win?
No. So here we have for you, starting with the Eastern Conference, I grabbed what ESPN Insider believes will be the over-under win projections, or their projected total wins for the top 8 teams. And I grabbed 2 from the that will be challenging for a playoff spot, according to ESPN Insider for the umpteenth time. What do
you mean, Jason? Do you think the Pacers are only going to win 38.9 projected wins?
Well, thank you for asking, Francis, because we use these as context to create debates, which in turn create interesting commentary for a debate show kind of like this on YouTube called TYT Sports. The Cleveland Cavaliers' projected wins, actually every single one of the wins, I think, are
a little bit low.
Are like 5 wins under, roughly.
To be safe.
I think the Cavaliers are a 57-win team. I think the Celtics and the Raptors, I would flip them. I would put the Raptors, who have proven that they can finish the number 2 seed multiple times in the Eastern Conference, and with that backcourt, that is very hit or miss, but when they hit for roughly 53 wins per season is what I would throw them out. The Celtics, probably spot on. I think the Celtics are a 50-win team. Yeah. I think they are much better with Al Horford. I think people are underestimating his portability on that team. I think that he is going to be perfect for the crafty Brad Stevens to draw up even more nightmare inbound plays and even worse matchups for opposing defenses. The Pistons, Wizards, Hornets, Bucks, and Pacers. That's an interesting one because I would put the Pacers at number 4. Absolutely. The Pacers are a 45-win team, minimum on paper. Yes, there's a lot of changes coming in, and sometimes that doesn't click right away, but you have a bona fide superstar in Paul George, a top 10 player in the league. You have picked up Jeff Teague, who is capable of running difficult offensive schemes, as he did with Mike Budenholzer in the Atlanta Hawks, and as he will carry over for the Indiana Pacers this year, creating even more space for Paul George to dominate the scoring department. The big key to that team, still believe it or not, falls on Paul George's turnovers because he led for his position in turnovers per game. He cuts down on a little bit of the sloppiness he does when he drives to the hoop, and the Pacers, just that extra 4 or 5 points per game in differential when it comes to the turnovers, could make a difference between an 7-8 seed and a 3-4 seed.
Yeah, if the Pacers right now, if that's the projected amount of wins, if that's the spread I'm getting in Vegas, I'm taking my salary and I'm running straight to Vegas and I'm putting on the higher amount for the over-under. Either way, if you can go back to the graphic, I really want to touch base quick with...
Where are the Knicks?
No, exactly. That's my question is, where are the Chicago Bulls? I think the Chicago Bulls projection, I talked about it in our preview, I think they're up there with Miami Heat. I think maybe 38, 40 wins potentially for the Bulls this year. Adding Rajon Rondo, they've got the experience of Rondo, Dwayne Wade in that team, as well as some young talent coming through. I think they're definitely 40 wins. Jimmy Butler, who performed very well at the Rio Olympics. I am curious, though, from Jason's point of view, and we joke about the Knicks, but with the moving pieces they've had, what is their projection? It didn't show there. What are you thinking in a serious point?
Well, what a joke, because the Knicks are a big laughingstock. Even still, here's the problem that people seem to see is that, for one, yes, Derrick Rose is not somebody who, when he was playing with the Bulls in the second half of last season, his real plus-minus went up. He was actually more effective on the court than he had been during the first half of the season. Injury worries aside, Derrick Rose is a much better floor general and point guard than Jose Calderon was, than Jerry Grant was, and he's still young. But still, you have someone who has proven and capable of running an offense and attacking the rim, even though he literally can't jump anymore. Brandon Jennings, Courtney Lee, Joakim Noah, Kristaps Porzingis, and Carmelo Anthony. It's a team that's on paper that I think could win 41 games. I don't know if they break 500. I'd be very disappointed if they don't go 41-41. But 41-41 is a 6, 7, or 8 seed in the Eastern Conference. Even though it's going to be more competitive this year, I think that they would finish better than teams like the Charlotte Hornets. I think the Wizards have some very serious problems in their backcourt. The surfacing rumors of John Wall and Bradley Beal not clicking chemistry issues already, months before the season has began. If there's a big disconnect there, that's a problem because Bradley Beal is your scorer, John Wall is your point guard, and The numbers of last year, he was passing to Bradley Beal roughly 12 times when they're on the court together, but assisting on only one of those passes. Part of that is Bradley Beal possibly missing some of his shots, but that also means that he wasn't looking towards Bradley Beal. And if you want to do well in the regular season, your backcourt needs to be connected. And wait till we get to the Western Conference as to why I think the Thunder are going to be a lot higher than they're projected. Knicks, 41-41. The Garden will be fun again. I think that's important. But the most important key, the development of Kristaps Porzingis around some of these veteran players, and maybe an Olympic Melo will show up. That would be great. If it does, I would put, if I have a floor and a ceiling, I think the ceiling for the Knicks is, if everything goes right, is 50 wins. I think that's a over-exaggeration of expectation. And I think the floor there is 30 wins, which is not a good season. You're losing 52 games. That's not good. But I think it's a broad scope, but if we're doing the scope, I'm hoping we're up here. Anti-Knicks fans are down here. Hopefully we're somewhere right below my giant nose.
Get into the playoffs, that's the goal. But let's take a look at the NBA wins for the West and see what is weighing up. So Golden State Warriors, 66. I mean, not a bad differentiation between them. San Antonio Spurs coming in at 54. The Jazz jumping above the LA Clippers to Dan
Is that a typo?
Preston's absolute disarray. He storms out the studio. How on God's earth can you put the Utah Jazz ahead of the Clippers? We'll get to that.
Because they cloned Karl Malone and John Stockton, and they're 25 years old apiece, and they are back on the Jazz.
The Houston Rockets, with James Harden coming in with a ridiculous fee in which he's signed on, but as the owners suggested, he is going to be the best player in the NBA. And as much as I would like to disagree, it's often hard to disagree with the fact that James Harden is a phenomenal offensive player and can lead a team like the Rockets to 45 wins, especially with Dwight Howard no longer on that team. Oklahoma City Thunder, Jason, 45 wins after Kevin Durant departs. Do you think they should be a little bit higher than that?
Higher. And I'm going to cite the team right below them as to why they're going to be higher. The Portland Trailblazers last year going into the season had a diabolical over-under, possibly the worst team in the league in the Western Conference, because they lost 4 of their 5. A great shooter in C.J. McCollum. Damian Lillard proving once again, even though the world is against him when it comes to voting him into All-Star games. And he's a great rapper if you haven't seen his videos recently. Please, that man should be signing a record contract. Where is OVO when you need him?
Le'Veon Bell as well, by the way, who just released one of his videos. He's phenomenal. They should create like a little athlete rap video.
But why is it? I get that Kevin Durant is gone. Did we not see an emerging, young, terrifically sound defensive center in Steven Adams, who has also got some brilliant footwork in the paint and on the block last season during the playoffs when it mattered most? And the difference between that and a DeMarre Carroll on the Hawks is that Adams was facing much stiffer competition than the Hawks were when DeMarre Carroll signed with the Raptors. And even though I have my anti-ness, I'm against DeMarre Carroll and how much money he made when he went to the Raptors, he was there for defensive reasons and he was pulling his weight defensively. Steven Adams can do more than that, mostly because of his size. He plays the 5. That's an important role. He's young, and I think he's a great chemistry builder for a team. Yeah. But that's not the only reason. The biggest reason is that if a Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum backcourt in the Western Conference can get you into the playoffs like they did last year near that win total, then you better believe that a Russell Westbrook, Victor Oladipo, easily the most athletic backcourt in the NBA, in combination with a Steven Adams and a good scoring option off the bench in Enes Kanter, he was disowned from his family, could win 50 games in a season. Now, I know Durant's not there. I know the Western Conference is much more stiff when you have to face teams like the Warriors 4 times and the Spurs 4 times. In terms of the unders there, I like the Jazz being the 3 seed from the contrarian point of view. I don't have the list in front of me. If we can go back to that graphic, though. But, oh, man, what were you buying with Ezekiel Elliott in the weed store if you think that the Utah Jazz are going to win nearly 48 games next year? Yeah. Prove me wrong, Utah. I have nothing against your team, but I don't think that if you have to play the Warriors, Spurs, Clippers, Rockets, Thunder, Blazers as much as you're going to have to, that you're going to come away better than 2-2 against all those teams.
The only reason I would go back to the Oklahoma City Thunder point and potentially say that I think they'll have more than 45. The only reason I would be drawn to the idea of them taking more losses this year is, as you mentioned, it's not just that Kevin Durant moved away from OKC, it's that collectively a lot of the teams in the Western Conference who are already, I think, far and away superior on paper to those teams like OKC this year and Portland Trailblazers, they got stronger. Golden State
Yeah.
Warriors got stronger. They get Kevin Durant. Now, would I go out there and put on a random bet that they're going to go on and surpass the already set
67
record
wins?
of the season? No, I don't think so. I think this 70-win season is still a phenomenal accomplishment for the Golden State Warriors with Kevin Durant coming in. I think that they've realized after last year that it doesn't matter how good of a regular season
I don't
you
think
have,
people are
you're
like,
going
putting together,
forward.
too, that if they hit that number, 67, 68 wins, they're going to be one of 13 or 14 teams to ever win more than 60, like 6 games in a
Yeah,
season.
it's just last season was obviously that
And
example.
why are we ever going to sleep on the Spurs not winning 60 games?
Mm.
This is a team year in, year out could win 60 games. I know Tim Duncan's not there. Tim Duncan was barely there last season. You still got LaMarcus Aldridge. Pau Gasol, who is not so good defensively, might cause some problems, but I trust Greg Popovich. And Kawhi Leonard, who finished second in the MVP voting. You have one of the best players in the league on your team, two-way players. I think the big key to the Spurs winning, making deep runs next year, Danny Green, please find your sharpshooting again. If he finds his sharpshooting from 3, that's going to pose a lot of problems for opposing teams in the Western Conference. Lastly, let's go back to that graphic really quickly because I think they put the Kings at number 10. I think the Kings are going to win 0 games this year. The amount of wins that the Kings are going to get this year, 37.7, and that actually might be right because they do have DeMarcus Cousins, undoubtedly one of the best, actually the best center in the league. I don't think you can even test it. DeAndre Jordan might be too. So one of the 2 best centers in the league. Not enough because that organization is such in shambles. There's one player to look out for in that team who I saw in the Summer League. I was blown away by more than anybody else. Skal Labissiere from Kentucky. That guy plays with so much fire and so much heart, and he's a smooth shooting big. The only problem is you have only bigs. You have DeMarcus Cousins. You have Willie Cauley-Stein. You have Skal. You have Papa Giannis, dad of Giannis. You have Costa Koufos, who's not big, but still a player. There's no guard. There's no central backcourt, and you need that to move the offense. You can't just keep feeding DeMarcus Cousins because that organization still doesn't know what to do with him. I feel so bad for him.
Yeah.
Look how much fun he was having with Team USA.
He was enjoying
DeMarcus, I plead to you, just don't play for the Kings this season. Join us on TYT Sports, be our 3rd panel member, and then take a year off. You'll be even healthier than you've ever been, and then go play with like the San Antonio.
Take us with you. Either way, 2 teams that I wanted to mention that aren't on the over-under list. Expect the Los Angeles Lakers to win more games than what they did last year. As much as it wouldn't be hard to go forward and accomplish that, I'm excited to see a Brandon Ingram, Jordan Clarkson offense moving forward with a new coach, Luke Walton. And also, not on that list, the Minnesota Timberwolves, who I think are producing some young talent who I would expect to go forward and surpass the expectations. We did a full clip on the Timberwolves and whether or not they can be a team to look out for last year. Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins, who's trying his best to jump out of ceilings and showcase that he could be one of the best dunkers for his size and stature than we've ever seen. It was almost, 360, 180, 490, 720.
720. You want to make a long shot bet, put money on Karl Anthony Towns to win the MVP. It's got great odds to pay out, and my God, if it's not this year, it's in 2 or 3 or 4 years, that man will be an MVP. We must wrap up.
This is after you ran the full clip on why Westbrook was undoubtedly going to win
Well,
the MVP.
outside odds, it's undoubtedly true that if Russell Westbrook wins 50 games and averages a triple.
It's undoubtedly true if Russell Westbrook has a...
We got to wrap up. Comment
If
below.
they finish bottom of the, like you mentioned, if they finish bottom, you can still win it.
Comment below.